Well, there is backlash and fallout following GOP debate number 3, which was held just the other night on NBC. Vivek Ramaswamy now has this huge target on his back, from the RNC chair to the GOP establishment to the Uniparty to the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media. And mark it down, when they work so hard to trash and destroy one person, that means that somehow he's right. Somehow he got to him. Or as my grandfather used to say, when you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, the one that yelps is the one that got hit. And Megyn Kelly and her panelists did a breakdown and an assessment of Vivek Ramaswamy. And the takeaway is this: they don't get it. They don't get him. They don't get where the Republican base, the conservatives in the Republican Party, they just don't get where it's at, and they really don't get how debates work anymore. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
Well, good morning on this beautiful fall morning. Get yourself a cup of coffee. We're bringing you the Afternoon Drive a little bit early today, but please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and then please smack the bell, click the word all so that you get notification of my rants, my ravings, and my undeniably flawless reasonings. Hey, and then please like and share this video. That's how we get the word out that we're here. And I want to give you a warning, especially if this is your first time here. You're probably not going to agree with everything I say. In fact, I might even make you mad. And I really don't care, as long as I make you think. Welcome to the podcast for thinking people. One debate has had a variety of different results. There is one camp that has basically said that, you know, Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley won the night, depending on which of the neocons and traditionalists that the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media wanted to get behind and rally for. But yet, there's a bigger majority saying, no. Vivek Ramaswamy won the night. That would be the alternative media, the online, everything happening over on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on YouTube and every other platform where people who really follow this stuff and have an opportunity to respond to a poll. Vivek run by like 90%. But you've got yet the New York Times, the Washington Compost, and all of these political experts, like follow the science experts, these political experts, which are nothing more than paid political hacks and pundits who go on the cable news shows and pontificate. And they've all declared, no, what Vivek did was awful. He came out, he was divisive, he was angry, it was vitriol, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, who are we talking about? Who got the buzz? Who got the feedback? Who guarantees that if they do another one of these, which apparently there's going to do on December the 6th over on, I forget which new cable startup wannabe channel. Is it new? It's news something. I forget what it is. But anyway, Megyn Kelly has been asked to be one of the moderators on that one. I think it's the new channel that is that the one Chris Cuomo's on? I don't know. What Vivek did guarantees people now will tune in to see what's Vivek going to do next. And again, this is not an endorsement of Vivek. You know that I'm a Trump guy. But Vivek came right out the gate, and he took it to him. He took it to the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media, and he took it to Ronna McDaniel, the RNC chair, and basically said, resign. Well, of course, she responded by calling him a blank hole, and that he would get no money from the RNC. Oh, Shazam, Batman. Big shock there. First of all, he's a multimillionaire, doesn't need your money. Second of all, he's doing just fine in the donations department. And thirdly, you just revealed exactly why we have been getting our clocks cleaned. And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump and the MAGA candidates themselves, but the RNC working behind the scenes through Bitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy to make sure that they didn't get the funding, the promotion, the support, and defense they needed, and probably, more than likely, the RNC under the leadership of Ronna McDaniel was supplying the Democrats with the opposition research to tank these candidates because they don't want the MAGA candidates in Congress, in Washington, being a threat to their power base. They kept a couple around as tokens and thinking that, good, we've left a couple there. We got our token, MAGA people like Matt Gaetz. What could they possibly do? Well, now that the ratings have come out for debate number 3, and it was a 71% drop, proving, number one, nobody cares about these anymore, especially at this level. It's Donald Trump. What about this aren't you understanding? You guys are all running in the silver medal round. This is nothing. It's nothing. What is the matter with you? You're wasting time and occupying space. But it also just demonstrates how out of touch they are. And as an example of that, Megyn Kelly on her podcast had a panel on the other day to assess the debate and, of course, critique Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, she had Emily Jasinski on there, and Emily started out as the replacement for Crystal Ball over at Rising. And after Crystal and Sagar left to launch their own thing, Emily got the gig, and then it didn't quite work out. I think, what's the guy's name that she was with? Ryan Grimm, that troglodyte, who basically forced Glenn Greenwald out of his own company, The Intercept. And then the two of them, Ryan and Emily, ended up over on Sagar and Crystal's network. Talk about convoluted. Now apparently she's out on her own, and she's not a conservative, but she's not a flaming libloon either. And she's kind of in the middle on some things, and certain things she has really good insight and assessment on. Also on with Megyn Kelly was Michael Moynihan, and he was just incensed over, what Vivek did. It was awful. It was terrible. And it just proves that even though Megyn Kelly, who has political savvy herself, she will make a fine debate moderator. But she still, even though she talks about the new media, and the new media is where it's at, not cable, where is she going? She's running right back to cable news to do this moderation, and she's showing that even in the content of her online podcast, she's still old school thinking. Because their critique of Vivek and the debate that night shows you they just don't get it.
An answer can have a lot of things in it that are true. And also be a bad answer. I thought it was a very bad answer. I mean, for a few reasons. Number one, you haven't allowed the debate to take place, and you're already impugning the moderators. I know they don't have the best history. Most people, as Emily said previously, want to know things about issues that are of concern to them. Replaying out of the gate, like the media thing. Look, he's doing the Trump cover band thing, right? I mean, at the beginning, he says, Ronna, this is the problem. 2018, 2020, 2022, last night. Who's missing from that? Well, Donald Trump. I mean, obviously. And so Donald Trump is obviously a problem, and very, very bad cover bands of Donald Trump, bad MAGA candidates, which is what destroyed the Republicans in 2022, the Herschel Walkers of the world, the Mehmet Oz's of the world.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, first of all, people are not tuning in to these primary debates to be quote-unquote informed. See, again, they're going back to Newt Gingrich thinking. Remember when Newt Gingrich's big plan was he wanted to challenge Barack Obama to Lincoln Douglas-style debates, where each candidate got to speak for like an hour and a half. People aren't tuning in, especially at this level where it's the primary level, for this long, deep insight into the core and the soul of the candidates. They're calling in, or they're tuning in to be inspired, to be motivated, to be fired up. And there are certain things that at the core of the conservatives that fire them up. And Vivek, like Donald Trump, taps into that. Same thing is true on the liberal side. And there are certain things that the liberals tune in for that they want to get fired up about. And so the candidate that knows how to inspire and fire up, that's what they're tuning in for. Watching Chris Christie lean up against the podium and lean on the podium because he can't stand up. Listening to Ron DeSanctimonious, constantly give middle-of-the-road, safe answers. Listening to Tim Scott go on and on and on. Nice guy, but no fire, no passion, no chance. And then listening to, cringe, unhinged Nikki Haley just basically want to go to war with anybody and everybody. And nobody understands her response to Vivek when, you made the crack about you don't want to be Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels, and we have two of them on the platform. Number one, that was a reference to the guy next to him, Ron DeSantis. And then Nikki Haley saying, I wear 5-inch heels because I can run in them. And everybody's like, what? And it's not just for looks, it's a weapon. What, you like club people with your heel? She's just... You know what? I have decided that Nikki is the Republican version of Hillary Rodham Clinton. Let's just, she ranks right up there with Camilla thinks she's a Hottie Harris. She's got, anyway. So if they think that people are tuning in for that, they are tuning in to hear those punches land, and especially what makes them land, it's not just if they're well-timed and well-delivered, if there's truth to them. And Vivek truth-bombed. He went after Nikki Haley about, you leave your UN post and you're nearly bankrupt. Then you go to work for the military-industrial complex and Shazam, Batman, you're a millionaire. And now all you do is push war. I wonder why. I mean, he got her. He got her. He got her on her virtue-signaling hypocrisy about talking about how bad and vile TikTok is and that nobody should be on it and it's simply you're working for the Chinese when you do that. And he said, your daughter's on it. And she called him scum because he got her. He outed her for her rank, lying hypocrisy. But then he began the night by calling for the resignation of the RNC chair, Ronna McDaniel. And listening to Michael Moynihan just go off on, the problem with the GOP is not Ronna McDaniel, it's Donald Trump. These Donald Trump candidates. See, again, Megyn, your guest doesn't know what he's talking about, and you didn't correct him. These MAGA candidates didn't win because they were MAGA candidates. They didn't win because the RNC didn't get behind them. Ronna already declared in her response to Vivek that he's a blank hole and he will get no money from the RNC, which is exactly what the RNC did to Herschel and to every other MAGA candidate with the exception of J.D. Vance. No support, no promotion, no advertising money, no exposure. They did nothing to help them. Mitch McConnell and McCarthy did everything they could to tank these candidates. That's what happened. And why were they doing that? Because Ronna McDaniel and the rest of those rhinos are there to protect the uniparty, there to protect the military-industrial complex, there to protect the status quo. And if your so-called panel doesn't have enough insight to see that, Megyn, I have to question your ability in choosing panelists. Or if you wanted to bring him on to let him make that argument, I question your ability not to see through that and push back on it. Now, you did kind of giddy and go along that you liked the fact that Vivek took it to NBC, but you said that it wasn't as genuine as when Newt Gingrich took it to CNN. Who cares? See, again, this shows me, I'm sorry, Megyn, you're showing your age and the fact that you may be online, but you're still old school thinking, old media thinking. It doesn't matter that he worked on these lines and he rehearsed them and he wanted to come out there and do that. Doesn't matter. He connected. People who were actually in the hall that night say he was electric. Everybody was talking about it. Ron DeSantis doesn't generate that kind of buzz. Tim Scott certainly doesn't generate that kind of buzz. And Krispy Kreme Christie doesn't even stick around to go in the press room afterwards. Why? Because everything he's doing is a complete joke. He just wants to raise money to run against Trump, to do his Donald Duck comparison, and hopefully get a gig on CNN as the conservative political analyst. That's, he is what he is, a huckster from New Jersey. Vivek is the one they want to talk to. Vivek is the one they're trying to take out now and trash because he's a threat. He's a threat to the status quo. He is an articulate Donald Trump, and they're afraid of that. And he has, and some of you aren't going to like this, he has an Obama-esque personality about him. Doesn't have Obama's policies, but he has that Obama-esque type of personality. He's got that it factor. Ron DeSantis doesn't have any kind of an it factor. He's just in lifts. So, Megyn, for somebody who wants to be not only politically savvy, but part of the new media, you got to learn to think new media. And new media, especially at this level, yes, when it comes time for the Republican and Democrat candidates to have debate, yeah, we need to know where they stand. But at this point, this is about get the base fired up, get people excited and motivated to go vote. And listening to Nikki Haley drone on and Ron DeSantis drone on, not getting it done. And now that there's been a 71% drop in the ratings on the GOP debates, a lot of other Republicans have now taken the lead from Vivek Ramaswamy. And you know what they're calling for? The resignation of Ronna McDaniel. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Well, that is my rant for today. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great weekend.